And good evening, everyone. We got to get dressed. We got to get ready here. Holy cats. We got a show to do. We got comics to read. So stay tight, and we'll be back in about 1 minute.
Seconds.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
How dare you!
Now comes the...
Welcome to Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Get ready to explore the world of comics, past, present, and future, with our panelists Eric Hawkins, Brian Rodman, and Clyde Hall. And now here's your host, Brian K. Morris.
And hello there, everyone. This is Brian K. Morris, and welcome to the Thursday. I'm about to say Wednesday. I'm so confused. Time has no meaning for me anymore. June 23rd edition of 2022 of Comic Book Spectrum. Now, we're a little shorthanded tonight. Eric and Brian will not be here tonight. I believe they are staging a full-blown invasion of Latveria tonight, and I didn't have the heart to tell them it's fake. But anyway, we hope you'll stay with us and hope you enjoy the rest of the show because we've got the rest of the group here, Joe and Clyde. But first, we're going to explain that we've got an attitude of gratitude, and it starts with our Patreon supporters. Patreon is a monthly subscription service where you can support your favorite creators directly, and many of these people on the screen have their own Patreon, so please check them out. But before you do, please go to www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris and find out what you get for your direct support of our enterprise. And tomorrow, I believe it is, we are, for the $5 and per month high and higher subscribers, we are posting the first chapter, the first draft of Volcana 2, my new novel. So please check that out. It's off to a good start, and we've got a twice weekly blog that we do. So remember, that's patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. And also, we want to thank our sponsors, Rising Tide Publications, who have a wonderful book coming out later this summer called The Terrors. And it's going to have a great cover, not this one, but another one that's equally amazing. And if you want to know who does my covers, that's our other sponsor, Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now, it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasma Fire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
And I know just what you're saying. You're going like, wow, how can I get that much incredible artwork on the front of my project? Well, go to the Plasma Fire Graphics Facebook page, take a look at the more samples, then go on over to plasmafiregraphics.com and see all that Jeffrey Hayes has done and will do for you. And believe me, his pricing is very independent creator friendly. Trust me on this one. He is way underprices what he does, but take advantage of it before he comes to his senses. That's plasmafiregraphics.com. Plasmafire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it definitely matters to your readers. And something else that matters to us are the incredible rest of our reviewing crew tonight. And so we have the two and only, let me get to the white screen here, Clyde Hall and Jody McFee. Good evening, gentlemen. How the heck you doing?
Hello.
I'm present.
Yeah, Joe rushed in to get here, so
Mhm.
sterling effort, sir.
Mhm.
Now, before we start, Joe, I believe we need to do a round of applause for Joe, because he just got that Amazonia funded, didn't you?
Yes, we got it funded. We ended up with over $2,100.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Congratulations. And thank you to everyone in our audience that helped make this happen. Okay? We were definitely grateful to you all. So anyway, let's go around the room. The introduction shouldn't take long tonight. So we may be out of here before the sun goes down. But anyway, well, we hope not, though, because the comments are piling up. So we'll start with Joe, then go to Clyde, and tell everybody who you are and why you are so amazing.
I don't know about amazing, but I am Joe D. McFee. I am the president of C2C Studios. I'm the creator of Amazonia, Primetime Saturday Night, and AWF. I also host a show called From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher, which you can find right here on the Rise of Tide Network on Saturdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. 9 o'clock Central being the most important time because that's where I'm at.
I beg to differ. I'm outvoted tonight. Never mind.
But saying all that to say, we just got through successfully crowdfunding for issue number 7 of Amazonia. I am grateful and humble for the outpouring and the support here because, like I said, there was a lot of firsts that happened on that campaign. A lot of things that kind of brings you back to reality and make you feel a little bit sober, just like how I was with the countdown. It's like, trying not to be emotional. No, not emotional as far as crying and weeping, but more so of just looking at the amazement of the support and the attitude and the fact that, we made it this far so far in that book, and we want to continue on with it. And, saying all that to say, I'm happy to be a part of this crew right here on tonight. And I'm looking forward to do comic book phone today because I just realized maybe one of the books that I had originally had wanted to pull out. I think I already did it, but you can tell once we get to that.
Maybe we'd like to hear it again. So there.
Yeah.
You did so well the first time. Anyway, thank you so much, Joe.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. And here he is, the gold standard among us, Mr. Clyde Hall.
Hi there. I'm Clyde Hall, and I'm old. Now,
Get off my lawn.
not as old as Brian, but how old, you say? Well, I remember when Disney was a wonderful world of and not a plus. I remember the era of Mama's Family and modems. I remember when live-action superheroics consisted of the Hulk and Shazam on CBS, Wonder Woman on ABC, Spider-Man on the Electric Company at PBS, and Legends of the Superheroes, or Exo-Man, on NBC. Before those, I watched Batman and Green Hornet on ABC, Captain Nice on NBC, and Mr. Terrific on CBS. So, when I say I'm old, that's what I'm old enough, actually. I'm old enough to even think that along with the launch of Brian's new Volcana, I think we should have Vulcanard, the Duck of Destruction. Because I'm a Karl Barks throwback, okay? All that to say that I've been around long enough to see a little bit of comic book goodness and also to experience a lot of different eras of the comic book medium. And so I feel really, really qualified to do comic book reviews with my friends here at Comic Book Spectrum. at least I have a lot of background. I may not do great reviews, but I have a background that lets me encompass more than some. Now, like a one-man's Charlie's Angels, I work for me. I'm an independent author, and I'm an award-winning audio drama scriptwriter, and I'm a contributing writer at Stormgate Press. Coming soon, my contribution to Charles F. Millhouse's Captain Hawkland Lost Adventures 10th anniversary celebration. That'll be coming in a novella form from Stormgate Press. And while you wait, please check out my story and the stories of others in the recently released Tim Bruckner's Major Marjorie, a new pulp sci-fi anthology. That's available through Amazon, but you really should visit us at www.stormgatepress.com to see what we have available in the new pulp fiction arena. My love of graphic novels and the comic book medium itself is why I do online comics reviews at places like doomrocket.com. This month, my review there will be for Aftershocks Astronaut Down. That'll be coming out in the next week and a half or so. I also do comic book weekly reviews at Comics Bookcase, but there are changes a-coming. I can't share them just yet, but they're the good kind of changes, like finding gas 10 cents a gallon cheaper than yesterday at your local petrol dispensary. So watch this space for further updates. And now, this is the highlight of my week, getting to review comics with my Rising Tide Network brothers in celebration of NCBD +1 right here, right now at Comic Book Spectrum.
Beautiful. Thank you, Clyde. And compared to these two, I'm no one. But anyway, no, I'm Brian K. Morris, independent publisher, freelance writer, editor, a genuinely award-winning author, Facebook famous YouTuber, and former mortician's assistant. I am privileged to be a part of Stormgate Press along with my own publications. Please pick up this book. I'm very proud of it. And I have been nominated, and I have won an award for one of the stories that's in this book here from Amazon, also Ben Books and BobbyNash.com. It's called Snow Ambition, and I think you'll find it enjoyable. Anyway, it's in this book. Yay! And it hasn't gone to my head yet much. Anyway, but no, and also I'm a broadcaster. We're in the final days of never mind the furthermore as far as I'm concerned. My last episode will be July 4th. Now I will be doing here's programming note. We'll repeat it later for the latecomers. I will be doing tomorrow's show, but something has come up. I will not be able to do Monday or Wednesday's show next week. I'll be back on Friday, but I have more than made up for my absence because the show will be hosted by the future host of Nevermind the Furthermore, Mr. Nicholas Tockert of the Historical Fencing Guild and Nerd Bacon, and he will be backed up by the wonderful, the charming, and delightful, and lovely Carl Witzman. So, yeah, seriously, you guys are in for some serious entertainment on Monday and Wednesday, so please back those guys and let them know they are loved. Okay?
Talk about a dynamic duo.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's not even that. It's just more like Steve Parr to Carson and McMahon now.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah, and of course, in my award-driven ego now, I'm thinking, yeah, it took two guys to replace me. Anyway, so, as if. Anyway, no, I'm really looking forward. I'll probably be watching. I'll probably be heckling from the audience, but and I want to thank Nick and Carl for taking those 2 days from me. But we'll do something and try to make I think after that I've got like two more. Tomorrow I have 2 more episodes on my own, and then we'll see about doing something special. Like maybe I won't show up for the last one or something. But anyway, sorry, Clyde. I gotta stop doing that crap.
Go ahead, just let me shoot coffee out my nose. That's fine.
Yeah. And of course, I was listening to your Clyde. I was listening to your talk about how old you are, and I remember 25 cent a gallon gas.
Yeah,
I remember the Eisenhower administration because that was the guy who kept breaking in for all this stuff that didn't matter to me whatsoever and disrupting my cartoon viewing
and playing golf. A lot of golf.
Playing golf, yeah, really. Good Lord. So yeah, I've got my own. I got my own blues to sing here. Oh, but anyway, we've got comments. Lord, do we have comments from the from the wonderful people that watch this show. So let's get through them. Donna Carlene is the first one in. Love you, Donna. Hope you're doing well. Sits Light Cigar, looks at poster. Now that's scary. Not what post? Okay, she's obviously looking at this. Ooh, the terrors.
Ooh,
it's scary.
ah.
Okay, but buy it when it comes out. Anyway,
Come on, Count Floyd. Go. Oh, look, kiddos. It's scary, scary.
And Carl agrees it is a little frightening. Good to see you, Carl, and thank you again for next week. And where is everyone? Are they hiding in the bushes? Probably. Well, peeking out is Dan Holofield, who is the host of Last Man Standing on tonight. Thursday nights at 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. on Sunday morning, following Stupid O'Clock at 9 p.m. on Thursdays and 11 p.m. on Saturdays. Check those shows out. It's the after hours, after con conversation you love, and it's really entertaining. Dan, glad to have you here. Dan is also a regular on Michaela Jade's Tidbits and Scribbles every other Monday night. And Donna Carlene's on there too. Hey, Dan. And Dan says it has been a day and not in the fun way. And yeah, we agree with Carl. Sorry about that. And good evening, Grant Lankard. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you, man. Grant is a comic book creator of Beowulf and other good stuff and Memoirs of the Morbid. And everyone's saying hello to Grant. And we almost got to throw our heads back and laugh against this. Well, I'm leaving that video. You guys can use it. And Ted Davies Artistry, good evening, superheroes. Ted, good to see you, my friend. Great show this morning with Glenn B. Fleming. And also, Glenn is going to be doing more art on his Tuesday morning show. I'm really excited to see that. Everyone's saying hello, 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 hello. And Mike Jimmy Lorcha de Bruin asks, what am I doing awake at this hour? Please send in your comments to idon'tknow@gmail.com. All right. Operators are standing by, and there probably is someone that's getting all these emails now going, what the hell is this? Anyway, Mike Jimmy, we're glad you're here, buddy. And all right, I got to be with RJ over at Critical Blast in an hour. Well, we can write you a note and get you out of it. You can stay here with us because we love you more. And wow, Mike, Jimmy, Lorcha de Bruin at this hour, and Cindy Kemp speaks the truth. Fezzes are cool. And this fez is cool because there's holes in the top. So, and Carl Witzman, trust me, my 8 p.m. bedtime body isn't agreeing either, but here we are, says Mike Jimmy. It's like a meme I saw today where somebody said, well, when I was growing up, I couldn't wait to be an adult, so I could stay up past my 9 p.m. bedtime. And now that I'm an adult, I found out that the perfect time to go to bed is 9 p.m. So I understand. And Carl Winston says, I hope the BKM has plenty of water tonight. Okay, just to alleviate everyone's fears. Okay. Oh, crap. I had this full before we came here.
Yeah, you did.
Clyde verifies that. So, yeah.
If it fills up,
that part is not the problem. I'm looking for certain mechanical devices that throws air.
Oh, that. Okay, no problem there.
Ah,
and it's working. It's working. Yes, it's working.
I thought of you, Brian. I thought of you this week because Ginny got a fan for one of her characters to wear in the headpiece that goes with it, and I thought that'd be the perfect size for your top of your fez. You know,
yeah, I get one of those like Darth Vader fans, you know, like Star Wars costumers wear. That's not a horrid idea. You notice I'm sitting here seriously considering it. So
they're very lightweight, and even the battery pack does not weigh very much. And boy, now you'd have to be careful. You couldn't let your hair in the back grow very long, because if it gets swept up in there, the last thing you want is for your fez to be yanking on your scalp. But
I've got a tassel, but trust me, I got nothing back there.
Okay.
Because Cookie won't let me grow anything back there because she likes to attack my neck with her lips.
Ah, okay.
And I like to let her. But anyway, but don't tell her that. But yes, Carl, we have plenty of water, and we are not far away from the bathroom tap, so we could, we could run a line if nothing else here. And it is currently 1 a.m. for Mike Jimmy Lorcha de Bruin. I'm feeling it, but hooray. We're glad you're here, brother. And go Joe, says Cindy Cap. And well-deserved, Joe, from Mike Jimmy Lorsch to DeBruin. I agree completely, and everyone's saying hello. And let me just go and get on with linking people. Mike Jimmy, thank you so much, brother.
Thanks.
I appreciate you.
Mhm.
And Tall Tales, there it is from Daphne Lage. Check out that project. That is some gorgeous art. You're going to dig this project. Definitely get on that. And Hybrids, the Sons of Gods from Luke Stone, recovered for at least mostly recovered from his bout with COVID and creating more than ever. So definitely check him out and check out his Thursday morning show on the Ragin' 2 network, our allies in broadcasting. It's called Nerd Bacon. The first 2 minutes will make you hungry. It will make you starve. You will feel pain in your stomach because the ASMR is strong with this one. And the amazing Cindy Kemp, there is her site at ckoepp.com. Please check it out. And Ego Raven, there's some more stuff from Daphne Lage. Check her out on Kickstarter.com. And Oswald from there we go, and it's a Kickstarter campaign too. Please check out the Oswald Chronicles. Good stuff, along with the Radiant site published by our own Mike Jimmy Lorsch de Bruin. That looks pretty swell too. Check that out. I don't think it's live yet, or is that live? I'm not sure if it's live yet, but if it's not live yet, be sure to mark yourself down as wanting to be notified upon launch. That way, it helps Mike Jimmy in with the dreaded algorithms, okay? And Ted Davies Artistry, good to see you here. And then he's saying hello to everyone. And Stormgate Press, definitely check that out. Stormgate Press, home of Pulp, the award-winning, all 3 issues now are award-winning issues. Pulp Reality 1, 2, and 3. 1 and 2 have stories by me. 1 through 3 have Mr. Clyde here with his wonderful character B-Man, plus other surprises that will delight the eye and the mind. And also Comics Bookcase at comicsbookcase.com. And our buddy Marv V, the Sin Killer's got another project just launched. Please check that out. Good stuff. And holy crap, who gave that man a wrench? I'll look into that, Carl, and I will see that he gets spanked, even if it costs me $20 downtown. Anyway, and Mike Jimmy says Historical Fencing Guild. Check that out every Friday night at 8 p.m., 7 p.m. Central on YouTube. A lot of entertaining. And if you write or draw comics, you definitely want to check that out because it's great reference from Nick Tockard. And just doing my part, Carl, because you never do. Ouch!
Ooh, no,
Ooh, that's not true.
That's fisticuff word. That's fisticuff word.
Oh, damn. I'm seeing pistols at 10 paces here. Or a one-way trip to the Thunderdome. Damn, Mike Jimmy throwing the salt there. And Carl Wisman says, and this week we are still on BKM's channel, so you don't have to change over just yet. Well, we're gonna see we're gonna hopefully see what we can do to share Nick's efforts on our channel too. And there he is now, the man of what will be the couple hours next week. Nicholas Anthony Tockard, hello. Check out Nick Tockard. He's also an author of The Simple Sword and Simple Axe, a couple of great reference books, and Big Stompy Robots, a beautiful pickup game that anyone can play. It's available all on Amazon. And nope, at this hour, Mike Jimmy, I'm lucky to be here and sober. And Mike Jimmy says, exactly, Carl. Normally I'm out between 8 and 9 p.m. my time. Welcome to my life. And if I forgot anyone, please tell me. You did really good. You did really good. I'm proud of you, Mike Jimmy. And does BKM have enough water? That remains to be seen. We still got another hour probably. And hello, Comic Genius Men. We just got a promotion. Hello, user. And hey, Nick, you just showed us jug of water time for phone to review choices. Yeah, we're getting there. We're almost there. And Nicholas Anthony Tucker mocks us with his laughter, as well he should. And the Radiant sign has been live for about 5 days now. I thought so. Definitely check out the Radiant site. That looks beautiful. It looks really good. Really proud of you, Mike. And hey, Nick, long time no see again. And I am sober right now. Gonna fix that tomorrow night, though. That's right. Tune in.
Right. Tomorrow is Friday.
Tomorrow is Friday. That's right. And that means it's time for the Green Room and Uncle Carl's Secret Humor page. Now, if you don't know what the Secret Humor page, just move on. It can, this is not the party you're looking for. But if you are a member of that page, check it out, because Uncle Carl opens up a secret room for us, and shenanigans occur.
That's the secret. Nobody knows about Uncle Carl.
Exactly. And the first rule of Uncle Carl is, But we have faith in your fixing that, Carl. And I won't be able to be there tomorrow, darn it, but it should be good. Now, we have gone through your comments. Please leave more comments. We'll read as many as we can, or we'll flash them on the screen. But while people are talking. But anyway, it is time. Wait a second. Hold on here. Here we go. Nick Tucker said it was an exciting morning with Luke Stone on Nerd Bacon. Nita had to wait in. That's right. I think it happened.
It's all my fault.
Really?
It was all my fault because Luke said, voice your opinion. It's like, you really don't want to do it. Voice your opinion. I was like, okay, let me do this. Are you happy now, Luke?
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, here comes Rich Parada. Rich Parada comes in and says something, and then poop.
I know there was a vigorous discussion, but I got there very, very late because I had errands that started multiplying while I was on the road. But good work, Joe. Good work. I got there at the tail end of it, so I could tell that there had been a bit of chaos. And so definitely tune in to Nerd Bacon on the Ryzen 2 network, our allies in broadcasting. We love them. But you know it's bad when Nita has to be the voice of reason.
No, it wasn't the fact that she was the voice of reason. It was just a simple fact that she had to come in because of something that was said that was so incorrect that it's like, hey,
Now that doesn't intrigue everyone to go back and watch that. So anyway, definitely check that out. The reruns are just as good as the original. And I was teasing them because they had been going on for something like 3.5 hours. And I told them that my record is 4 hours and 55 minutes. And they had a chance to break it, but they wimped out. So
yeah, because they went long and it was getting deep. It was getting deep, and it was just like, yeah, y'all got to end it now before it gets beyond.
Yeah,
the scope of what y'all wanted to talk about.
Yeah, well, people are still speaking to each other, so yeah.
No. That's the cool thing about it. Everybody was civil. And it was just more along the lines. It just was getting deeper and deeper and deeper where it went in.
Yeah, I just pieced together from a little of the stuff that had gone on before, but I'm definitely going to watch that. That should be a chunk of my life. That'll be quite entertaining. Mike Jimmy Lorson de Bruin goes, the secret humor page is only for people who know they've got a one-way ticket to hell anyway and are proud of it. Drop my name. It could get you some perks there. Anyway, and it was, says Mike Jimmy. Oh, yeah, you got him good, Joe. And blah, ha, ha, Jody, no worries. Rich just ran from that stream. Holy cow. Rich could be a little outspoken, and you got him on the run. Holy cats, that's great.
No, I didn't say anything, but he kind of was trying to prove the point that I was saying, and it got him in trouble.
I'm all for other people getting in trouble and not you. And in all seriousness, it was a great discussion. Definitely worth checking out. So please go to the Raging 2 Broadcast Network and check all of their shows out because they're very entertaining. I left when Glenn and Glenn's show came on. I'll have to go rewatch the end. Me too. And you really should, Carl. Luke got pretty passionate. Oh my God, did he?
Yeah, he got extremely passionate. And like I said, I understand where he came from. However, it's like the point still remains is it comes back down to mutual respect.
Yes.
As much as you try to respect other people have to respect you. If there's no respect there, it's just going to fall apart anyway.
Totally agree. And check your mic volume, Brian. Your voice is very quiet. That makes for a change. I'll do that later. And Parallax Spectre is here. We can stop worrying now. Parallax Spectre, good to see you, sir. And start over? Yeah, no problem. Okay, I'm Brian K. Morris. This is Clyde. This is Joe. That's about all we got accomplished. We've been waiting. We've been just vamping till you get here. And 3.5 hours, but passionate, but mostly civil discussions. That's what I like to see. All right, excellent. So that takes care of our comments. This leads us up to the part that you, the viewing public, enjoy a lot. And that is Jody McFee and his telephone answering service. Joe, take it away. Yay.
The number you have reached has been temporarily disconnected. Please try to call your call again. No, seriously. Welcome to Comic Book Phone. Please listen closely to your options because I tend to forget which books I have already done, at least for this week here. I know 3 I know I haven't done, but 1 I think I have. 4, do a power bomb. Please select 1. For something to killing the children, number 18. Yep, that's 18 up there. Please select 2. For Hit Me, number 2, please select 3. For Captain Carter, number 3, please select 4. Please select now.
All right, folks, hit those numbers now. And Nick Tockard says, start over. Okay, did Brian get enough water? Boy, you pass out once and everybody worries about you. Good Lord. And here we go. Everyone saying hello and do a barrel roll. I don't have any barrel down here. So
I take it that as a vote for number 1 because the title is called Do a Power Bomb.
I gotta vote for that one too.
Okay. And
Number 1.
We've got Carl Witzman for 4, Cindy kept for 5, Dan Hollifield for 4, Donna Carlene for 2.
Wait, what was 5? I get to make one up? I get to choose on my own?
Yes, you do. Yes, Cindy wants number 5, and she will not be refused. So you mess with her at your peril. Anyway, Donna Carlene votes for 2. Mike Jimmy Lorch de Bruin is 4. Parallax Spectre is 2. And Ted Davies went to the Eric Hawkins School of Voting and has 4 numerous times. And hey, Nick. Anyway, and Lady Mechanica. Oh, wait, wrong episode. And Parallax Spectre says number 5 is Amazonia, number 7.
We cannot spoil that one just yet.
That's right. And I believe that would be a conflict of interest. Because otherwise, hey, there's a great story in here. It's the best story ever.
Yes.
I give it a 48 out of 10. Okay. So anyway, keep the votes coming in, although that should be about everyone, I would think. And also, while you're voting, please give us a vote. The show, if you're watching on Facebook, give us a like or a love or some sort of reaction. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give us a like, give us a thumbs up. And if you have not subscribed to our channel yet, please do. We've got some really exciting programming coming up once I get some free time in the morning. So anyway.
So I guess I didn't do that one as of yet, from the way that everybody's voting.
It sounds like. And here we go. Parallax Spectre has already reviewed the book. Amazonia 7 is the best dang comic of 2022, says Joe D. McFee, totally unbiased opinion. He'll tell you it's the best book he's worked on this month. Anyway, click the button, subscribe to the channel, share the word, and enjoy the show. Definitely all 4. It's an easy thing to do. Thank you, Mike Jimmy. I appreciate you. So anyway, do we need time to tally the votes? Do you need our assistance?
No. I think that's everybody who did something except for Nick.
And me.
Yep, and you. And
I'll go for number 1 because no one else did.
Clyde did.
I don't. Clyde, oh, you know? Okay, I'll vote.
Oh yeah, do a power bomb. That title.
Solidarity. Right.
That title just really grabbed me, and I've been wanting to read the book. They don't have it at my local shop yet, so I was really kind of hoping to get a preview of this. But
yeah, so yeah, I'll stand with Clyde here. I'll do
and we still need one for Nick.
There you go.
And well, yeah, Mike already voted. It's like, so it's just Nick that haven't voted yet.
So, well, Ted Davies has pushed it over the edge. So,
well, again, and Cindy voted 5.
Cindy voted for 5. I mean, of course, I could throw.
So Cindy and Nick is the only 2 that's outstanding here.
I want to play,
and that could swing things in a certain direction too.
That's true. I could do. I could stand with Cindy. I'll call myself Pennsylvania because I'll be a swing state here. So it doesn't swing very much. So, Joe, do you want me to kill time while you tally the votes, or do you want to just launch into it?
Go ahead and do yours, because like I said, I'm still waiting for 2, and there seems like it's like Nick is definitely outstanding. That was her comment here.
Yes, Nick is outstanding. It's outstanding in his field. It's
5 just recycled. Just recycled back to number 1, but well, I don't know. I say it's her choice. It's Cindy's choice, so I'm not going to just automatically do that.
Yeah, Cindy's like those write-in votes, like the elections where they like write in Mickey Mouse or Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
So she is being cool and hip and different from the rest of us. So I will take the next shift. How's that?
Okay.
So, and Cindy and I are always outstanding. I
But
will.
y'all haven't voted yet. I don't care about outstanding. You need to vote.
Yeah.
There we go. So anyway, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He had his chance.
Nick,
So I'm
Nick,
gonna.
Nick, be our swing state. Come on.
There you go. Oh, and Cindy is grabbing random number generator 1, and Parallax Spectre is totally changing. I'll totally change my vote to Powerball.
Okay, so now we're getting to like old school voting here in Chicago. People
Yeah, we're removing those darn voting machines.
right.
So
Okay, so we need only Nick now.
only Nick. And Mike Jimmy has my solution. Roll a D4 and get on it. There you go.
And don't step on the D4 once you've rolled it, because man.
Oh yeah, that's the point. That's point.
Yeah.
It's like a Lego. Yes.
Yeah.
For evil. And Nick Tockert says, Broken Vacuum 2024. Finally, a candidate who doesn't suck. Merch available at lukestones.com. And Cindy, you can tell she lives downstate of Chicago. Vote for, or no, she lives in Iowa. Same thing. It's all a suburb. And vote early, often, and frequently. There you go. And Carl Wilson says, I voted for Nixon in 1980. Can I change my vote? What, Cynthia Nixon? What? And D4s are Legos for nerds who can't afford Legos, says Mike Jimmy. That's pretty profound. I like that. So, while we're waiting for Nick, maybe Nick doesn't want to commit. Could be. So I will take the next shift, and then Joe, you can launch into it. How's that sound?
Okay.
All right, here we go. So I will kill time. So Nick, get busy. I actually picked up a good variety of stuff at the old comic shoppy this week, and I will go through it. And I have a book here I think even Joe D would approve of. How enigmatic, Brian. What are you talking about? We'll stick with that. Of course, we got to talk about Vampirus Carmilla. Always 6 or 7 really great horror stories in here. And Don Glut, who's written for Gold Key and Marvel and Warren, the original Warren, he's in top form in this book. Now, the one thing I will warn you about, and I do mean this as a warning, and I'm surprised it's not on the cover somewhere, there is full frontal nudity in here of the female type. So if you're like me and giggle at all this stuff, be aware that it's there. So, most of the time you can leave this out for the kids. It's not that bad. But this one I will give an advisory for. Just be responsible, okay? And this one, as always, is a 10 out of 10. Good stuff.
Hey,
it has a
Brian?
cover. Yes?
Question.
Yes, sir.
Since you're talking about Don Glut,
yes.
Does he ever post anything in the books that he writes about his links of the old school movies he used to do? You can find him on YouTube. Yeah.
He does not talk about it, unfortunately.
Maybe he can't. I mean, that may be one of those copyright things, but
or maybe just beyond the purview of the book.
True.
So.
But if anybody is interested, last name spelling is Glut. Mm-hmm. It's worth a look to go see these very early, like late 60s Spider-Man fan films that he made.
Captain Marvel, and Captain America, and Superman. Yeah,
they're fun. They
really are nicely done for his skill level and the equipment he had available. So, but definitely 10 out of 10. Good material as always. And of course, one of my favorites, the one that's near and dear to my heart, Knights of the Dinner Table, with actual figures of BA and the crew. Kind of like that Hero Forge kind of thing. And it's called, of course, Heavy Metal. And in it, there's the knights are crowded around the kitchen table, of course, playing a new game and wondering how they're going to bring up the subject of BA's possible fatherhood. And meanwhile, back at Crazy 8 Enterprises, Jojo Zeke interviews the new intern and finds out that she is a little bit more gamer oriented than he thought originally. And there is also the Black Hands from Muncie, Indiana, have a thing where they're playing a military game. So they bring in one of their guys who's a real drill sergeant to help GM the game. And it's worth the price of the book there. Plus, there are articles on gaming, book reviews, movie reviews, indie gaming scene, other cartoons, and really cool stuff. And I'm giving this a 9.5 out of 10 because I don't read it all, but even for the $6.99 cover price, just the comics alone are always worth it. So anyway, that's nice. Knights of the Dinner Table, number 294. Next in line, and this, and the rest of these are really good too. Batman, Superman, World's Finest, and spoiler-free reviews as usual. This has some really great twists and turns. This was a good week for twists and turns. As a demon is slowly possessing every member of the superhero community and the Earth to forward his agenda, while Supergirl and Robin are in the past trying to figure out how he was imprisoned in the first place. And with Green Lantern kicking Kryptonian Butte, and Batman saves the bacon a little bit, but now they have to figure out a way to get Green Lantern's ring away from him. And they do it in a spectacular manner. The art by Dan Mora, who did this cover. And I'm going to show you one image here that remember, Clyde will remember this. The composite Superman.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, you remember that too, Joe? Okay, cool. We have a new version of it.
Ooh.
That's a better design than the old school one.
I totally agree.
I want to see that cosplayed, man.
I do too. I do know at least two people that did the original composite.
Oh, yeah. But
now he's got to fight the new composite Superman has to fight the other superheroes of DC. Great ending, great twist, great cliffhanger. This is a 10 out of 10 again. This is good stuff from Mark Waid and Dan Mora, who did this cover, by the way. And now we got this one, the third issue out of 5 of The Joneses from AWA. This is like what if the Fantastic Four were a suburban family? A little more relatable. And this has an incredible twist on the plot line that I did not see coming. It makes me want to look at more of this Michael Morisi's work. Really, really intense stuff here. Real relatable. I think most adults can relate to what's going on in here, and mirroring a lot of the unfortunate aspects of our society. The art is really nice. Even just the quiet scenes. What could have just turned into talking heads, you see some real emotion. I mean, look at that right there. That's not a standard smile, as the superpowered family gets invited to a cookout from people that have been saying, we need to do something to register all these parahuman people. And meanwhile, in the start of it, there's a robbery that gets foiled by mom or rather dad and daughter of the family. Plus, there are repercussions from that. And again, beautiful ending on this. One that's fueled by that twist I didn't see coming. A lot of these you get, especially when you've read a lot of comics like I have, or the rest of us, and you're like, God, I saw that coming a mile away. Well, I did not see the changes coming in here. And about 2/3 of the way, there is a real game changer in this book. So definitely The Joneses. This is number 3 out of 5. You should be able to get the first 2 from your local comic dealer. They might be able to order them. But anyway, this book it's a 10. It's a total 10. It is that good. And
AWA is really coming into their own this year, I think.
They really are. They've hired some really, really top talent. And I'm almost sorry I didn't get in on the ground floor on this, because like I said, there's some really good talent from other companies. And the stories that I have read have been absolutely solid, about 3/4 of them. So, but anyway, now I know you all are getting on my case every week, and I'm sick and tired of it, okay? That you keep pestering me about, Brian wants to do his review Superman books. Well, you know what? Why would I want to review a Superman book, huh? Just because I commit to my hero, wimps. Anyway, we have not got a Superman book to review this week. Instead, and I hope you're all happy about this, I'm going to be reviewing Superman pal Jimmy Olsen's boss, Perry White. I guess I showed you. Now, I have to say that it includes 2 news stories by Matt Fraction and Steve Lieber.
What?
I know. I know. I waited your sitting down, guy. But anyway, I went on record in earlier shows as not being incredibly impressed with their Jimmy Olsen maxi series.
You pressed vinyl, not being.
Yeah.
You issued just a whole disclaimer about how you didn't like that, and then it won an Eisner, and then you still said, "Well, fine." But
and I did like the last issue. It did tie everything up. I just felt that the Jimmy Olsen was kind of like weird just for the sake of being weird, and did not capture the adventurous spirit of the original weird ass Jimmy Olsen books.
And that's a valid view. Fraction can do that. I mean, he's a strange cuppa. So
he's an acquired taste.
Right.
And sometimes he can plot very intricate, very heavy themed stories. But when he lines up like he does in these 2 stories, it is wonderful. And it's spoiler free. And I want to tell you the title of the first story. And you've read it, Clyde?
No, I haven't.
I can't tell you the title because it ruins the ending. But it's awesome. It's awesome. But we do have like a earlier draft of the cover here, which is kind of cool. And then we have Force Majeure, which is Jimmy Olsen is being confronted by Perry White and the lady that runs does the economics for the Daily Planet. And they realize that his insurance coverage alone may be bankrupting the planet. It's solid entertainment. And if that wasn't, and of course, like the lady is trying to get some help to keep Jimmy out of trouble, so she turns to Clark Kent. And she's like, can't you keep this kid quiet and out of trouble just for a little bit? And he's like, gosh, Miss Leone, I wish I could, but this might be a job only Superman can handle. So, 2 very solid stories. And then we get some wonderful reprints. Like my friend Elliot Magan wrote some backup stories like The Amazing Exploits of Perry White, where he gets a cigar that gives him superpowers with some really wonderful Kurt Swan, Bob Oxner art. And then that's not the one, but it's another one where it's an early tale of Perry White. Now, the next story with art by Kurt Swan and Vince Coletta, again with a story by Elliot S. Magan. This is the one, The Super Cigars of Perry White. And it's just absolutely charming. And of course, who couldn't love Kurt Swan art? No one can draw normal humans like Kurt Swan, and make them interesting. And Magan's script is a joy to revisit. It really is. And Swan, you hear such trash talk about Vince Coletta, and not all of it is undeserved, how he cut corners. But you can tell when he takes certain pencilers and gives them a little more attention, and it kind of looks like he did with Kurt Swan, because you look at the backgrounds and they're not all like the cross hatchings he did with Jack Kirby on Thor and FF. Like he took some real time on this one, and some real nice feathering. And then there's a story with Perry White, Wildcat Clyde. Yay! And Jim Harper.
Yes.
The
Guardian.
The Guardian from the Newsboy Legion. And it's a story by Neil Clyde and Dean Haspiel, who we reviewed the Fox that he did for Archie a couple weeks ago. And it's 2 men talking in bars. And it is a touching story about family and corruption and heroics, and kind of repaying a debt of thanks years later. And then it also ends the book with the revelation of Superman's identity in Superman number 18. Beautiful. And, I've taken Brian Michael Bendis to task for overwriting. This is wordless. And it is beautifully done. Now, Aside from some text pages, credit pages, and a pinup, and something to separate the stories. Always start your stories on the right hand side, kids, and things like that. And of course, credits at the end and the back cover, which sells it like a paperback. Joe, you'll like this.
Mm-hmm. No Batman ads.
No ads whatsoever.
Oh wow!
Not just no Batman ads, but no ads whatsoever. So this is, and the UPC is on the back, so it doesn't mar the beautiful Steve Lieber cover. This is $4.99, ages 13 plus. And if you're an old-time comics fan, you're going to love the reprints. The stories, the original stories, are solid, and even that four-page thing with Superman reminds you how good Brian Michael Bendis can be. And I would have given this 11, but I got to take off a point because I'm a friend of Elliot Maggins. So got to keep my objectivity here. But this is a solid 10 out of 10. This is great entertainment and great reprints. This is just a really nice package of comic stories here that spotlight probably one of the least covered members of the Superman family. So definitely, it's a one-shot. Pick it up. It's Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen's boss, Perry White. I think you'll be glad you did. I think you'll enjoy that book. So that's my review for this week.
You said the magic word, Wildcat, so I got to get it now.
Yeah, and it's a good story too, Clyde. I think you'll, and with Jim Harper and a also a guest appearance by one of the Newsboy Legion, Scrapper. Not Scrapper. The guy in the orange turtleneck and the beret.
Yeah,
you know who I'm thinking of.
I do, but I can't think of his name.
I probably haven't had enough water yet, so don't worry, Clyde. Don't worry. But anyway, that's my review for this week, and let's catch up with the comments. And
well, before you do that,
yes,
I do have to say one other thing here.
By all means,
Grant, we need a vote from you. It's imperative that you vote.
Okay, go through the choices one more time for Grant if he hasn't seen that. He was here. So
option number 1, we have do a powerbomb. That's issue number 1 of that. We have issue number 18 of Something Killing the Children. Issue number 2 of Hit Me. And issue number 3 of Captain Carter as number 4. So number 4, number 3, number 2, and number 1.
There you go. And let's see, here we go. We're going through the remainder of the comments here. Parallax Spectre is saving his vote for Sir Winston Churchill. And Carl Wisman said, did I say 80s? I meant to say 70s. Geez, no, what happened was you were on the unit date protocols from Doctor Who. See, you notice how I'm saving my friend here with totally erroneous BS. It can be traced and it can be found. It's true. Anyway, it's a European comic, says Mike Jimmy. Nick Tucker says, my net actually dropped during the list, so is Ross Perot still on the ballot? Oh, well, so it goes. And if I bought Vampirus and it did not have nudity, I take it back for a refund. Well, here you go, Carl. The one-handed reading you can pick up at Barnes & Noble. Probably. And Donna Carlene says, I'm always responsible. Oh, that is nice, says Mike Jimmy. And real men don't run from trucks. Ask a deer on the highway. And Cindy Cap has not done this in ages. And I'm elated to see that she's doing jokes again. What does Superman use to eat cereal? A Super Bowl. How does Superman fix the broken bridge? A lot of super glue. And Nick Tucker says, ooh, that looks cool. Oh, phone's ringing. Double Mike Jimmy's vote for putting up with us earlier. Oh, the votes keep changing here. And Cindy Cap says, what do you get if you cross the Man of Steel with a chowder? A Superman. No more Krypton for you. And why does Superman tell jokes while he runs? He's an action comic. That's great.
That's a good one.
That is awesome. And even Mike Jimmy Lorchner is smiling. And why does Superman carry around a power converter when he's in the United States? Because he's from the DC universe.
Clever.
Oh, these are good. And yes, Carl, really. I don't make this stuff up. I just go to the store and buy this crap. Anyway, what do you get when you cross a pig and Superman? The Man of Squeal.
Real.
Yep.
And a Perry White comic. So funny. It is, Grant. It's got some great moments in it. And don't forget to tip your host. Thank you so much, Cindy. I do have a PayPal tip jar if anyone's interested. And justice for Vince Colletta. Hey, I like Vince Colletta. And like I said, and especially considered the crappy printing this originally came on, it's nice to see what looks like some actual care taken by Colletta on Kurt Swan's pencils. So anyway, Carl Witzman says a cigar with superpowers must have been a Habano or double Maduro. He would know. He does a great cigar show. And no ads? Blasphemy. I know. And okay, time to hop. I think RJ finally showed up too. Mike, Jimmy, thank you for being here, brother. Have a good time on Comics Class. But don't leave here, please. We're insecure. Anyway, love you, Mike. And we'll see you tomorrow on Never Mind the Furthermore. So, Joe, have you tallied the votes?
Yes, I have tallied the votes, and I guess I'm going to have to invalidate Grant's vote here.
Oh,
but that leaves us with this predicament.
What did he do?
We got to invoke tie protocols here.
Okay.
Now, one of the things that I did while you was doing your review was I went back to like the last 6 or so episodes. So it turns out that all 4 books have not been reviewed.
Okay.
So now I have to figure out how we're going to break this tie. And I feel that the fairest thing to do with all of this here is that I'm just going to pick one that did not receive the most votes instead and make you guys wait.
Okay, hold on a second here. I am sending a private message here.
Uh-oh.
Oops, I accidentally put it in the thing. Dude, I need to keep drinking.
It be a full finish oil painting here.
Finish. Fatal bomb.
I do have a joke for Cindy, but she probably won't like it. And you want to hear what the joke is?
He said trepidatiously, sure.
What did Batman give Superman to open a can?
What did he give him?
He gave him a can opener because Batman wasn't using it. You get it? It's not a bad opener because he wasn't using it.
Yes, okay. Oh, but anyway, do both Tide comics. We have the time. And do both comics. We have both Tide comics. We have the time. We have 3 people here that want this. I'm telling you, Joe. Do 2. Go ahead if you want to do.
Okay. Okay. Let me do this. Let me go last here then, because that way I can get everything set up the way that I want. Because I wasn't expecting to do 2, so we're going to do 2, and we're going to deal with those 2 at the same time here.
Okay.
And
Dan Hallfield says, "Are we sure that jug was full of water? Might be gin from the results BKM is displaying."
Right.
And coming from the man that passes out on screen regularly, I consider that a compliment. So, no one ran brown noise while I was here, thank God. But anyway, Clyde, are you ready? Do you want?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay,
Clyde, you're amazing.
Well, looking at what I picked up this week, I didn't have a huge bunch of comics in my stockpile, but there were some really entertaining reads. One of the most surprising, Black Adam #1 from DC. It is a limited series, and it has a story that I had expected something kind of sedate, something tied in with the movie. Perhaps mirroring some of the movie's take on the character, but it looks like they may be in the transition of giving the Black Adam character a different human host, and the introduction of a possible candidate who is a descendant of Teth Adam was a really interesting choice and very well written, very compelling. There's a few seams to the story that are a bit loose and it kind of jerks you around, but it has one big fight scene. The rest of it is all setting up this other character and the leader of Kondak up till now, and a very surprising but very quality read. I got to give kudos to DC to be willing to put this sort of a updating of the character forward. Now, will it stick? I don't know, but it's a quality first issue read with a different concept for the character and a mortal host that I really hope that they do switch. I think this would be fascinating. Again, I don't know that it mirrors much of what the movie is going to cover, but that's okay. I really, really liked this first issue and was surprised by it. Aftershocks, A Calculated Man. This is one of those that, like I've talked about before, oh, look, it's a person that's incredibly good with numbers fighting the mafia. Okay. A crime fighter with really, really, really genius skills is not new. I thought of the Numbers TV show when I heard the concept. And yet it delivers something completely out of left field, something different. It blazes its own trail. The character is compelling, although he's not really a hero. You look at it and you go, okay, could I be on this guy's side? I think as the issues go along, you will in the story that they portray. But it's a very interesting character and a very interesting take on that trope of genius versus organized crime. So Calculated Man, Aftershock, probably my favorite read this week. We have issue 8 of Newbern. It continues to be a very insightful, speaking of anti-heroes and somebody using superior wits to stay one step ahead of several crime families. Here you go. It's been a good read all the way up to issue 8. And it's one of those that it does not go back and give you very much history. So you probably need to go back and read some of the others before you tackle number 8. They're not standalones. It's all connected. They are standalones to a point, but we got to the point now where they're becoming more interconnected. So as it goes along, that's going to be more of a thing, is you probably want to get the trades early on to know exactly what each thing is significant about the developments as it goes. And Moon Knight, number 12. Very, very good. I think this is the culmination of the cycle that they've been on and been completely enjoyable. Adds one of those last panel mic drops where you go, oh, I didn't see that coming. So Moon Knight, number 12, good stuff. But my review this week is going to be something. It's a title that I have reviewed several times because I really enjoy it. It can be hit or miss, but overall, it was a great 2-volume series over at Ahoy Comics. And I was intrigued when they opened up this title to let other writers and artists participate in it. They let other people play in their sandbox, and it's a really cool sandbox. So this one is one of my favorite iterations of The Wrong Earth. So that we stay on the page here of what exactly The Wrong Earth is, this is Wrong Earth Confidence Man one-shot, number 1. Ahoy Comics, it's $4.99. It's written by Mark Waid. Again, he was heavily mentioned in Brian's Spot. Art is by Leonard Kirk. Colors by Paul Little. Letters by Rob Steen. I would rate this teen plus, although Ahoy doesn't normally rate theirs, but most of their stuff is either mature or teen plus. Now, while I write for various sites, this is my own independent feature, and it should not be considered representing any views of those sites or the views of Comic Book Spectrum. I'll show you some artwork here to start with. Leonard Kirk did a very good job of capturing some of the best elements of this series. And I'm not familiar. He's done quite a bit of work. Peter David said some very complimentary things about him, but I'm not as familiar with him as some of the other people that have worked on this. But here we have A View from Earth Alpha. And this is like the 1966 verse of Dragonfly Man. And this is his teen sidekick, Stinger, being very fed up with his abilities in the field endangering this dynamic duo. It is a very heavy Batman kind of iteration, so you get that vibe from both the artwork and the storyline. Meanwhile, on Earth Omega, the 90-ish version of the same characters, we have Dragonfly being very upset with his teen sidekick and trashing Stinger's costume instead of Stinger doing it himself over in the 66 world. Same artist, different era, different styling. He did a very, very good job, I thought, of capturing the essence of the 60s storytelling and the 90s storytelling. Here we have some more 60s verse with the Dragon Wagon, their Batmobile parallel. And then I'll show one more here of how things get totally out of control in the 90s version when a major supervillain takes Stinger there to task for being young and headstrong. So, and they have like 3 different covers. This is not my favorite cover. It's okay. There are a couple others that are a bit better, but it's all right. All the covers are good. This is just probably my least favorite, but it does show the 2 different Earths and the things that are going on there simultaneously. So, this is a conjoined tale of 2 sidekicks, and the Stingers of both Earth Alpha and Earth Omega are as disparate from one another as Dragonfly Man and Dragonfly are. And in the hands of this creative ensemble, that's a very good thing. The Wrong Earth Confidence Men, excuse me, is the 4th one-shot, all numbered as 1, in a 5-issue series where other writers and artists are invited to create a tale in the Wrong Earthiverse, is what I call it. As a refresher, the Wrong Earth series from Ahoy, they did this a few years back in 2 volumes, wherein the hero of a 1966-centric narrative, Dragonfly Man, and his 1990s-centric doppelganger, Dragonfly, switch Earths. So think the Batman of Gardner Fox and Sid Green being transported to the world of The Dark Knight of Frank Miller and vice versa. Writer Mark Waid follows the established trend of those earlier series by relating a dual narrative covering the same or similar situations taking place on both Earths. In this case, the heroes are not switched. Well, this is before they traded realities. But it is a comparative telling of 2 versions of the same story, just from each Earth's distinctive point of view. And that tale is one of a confidence crisis for Stinger, Dragonfly Man, and Dragonfly's teenage sidekick. On Earth Alpha, Stinger is ready to hang up his mask after underwhelming himself by his performance in the face of thwarting Fortune City's baddest eggs. His chum and mentor, Dragonfly Man, tries to assure the lad, but he's not having any of it. Then, Dragonfly Man is incapacitated and Stinger must step up to thwart the encephalic threat of that dire villain known as Brain Drain. Meanwhile, on Earth Omega, Dragonfly is ready to hang up Stinger's mask and kick him out of their ranks for being too headstrong and continually disobeying or disregarding his mentor's orders. He restricts the youth to monitor duty while he handles a developing crisis solo, since Dragonfly obviously can't trust his wingman until he redeems himself. But when one of the worst of their rogues issues a challenge while Dragonfly deals with the primary mission, Stinger cannot sit by and do nothing. It'll be the perfect way to show his micromanaging, overbearing leader just how capable he really is. Both stories have very satisfying and very appropriate conclusions with a few twists and turns along the way. The Good. Waid masterfully draws parallels and differences between his mirrored storylines and Insight with a high degree of consistency. The dual narrative holds up familiar Batman-esque partnership in its approach is solid. We have the 1960s version of Dragonfly Man as an encouraging foster father, one who knows that despite the occasional bout of youthful folly, his sidekick can be counted on, especially when the circumstances are dire. He's invested in giving Stinger the opportunity to evolve and one day take over the role of Dragonfly Man. The Earth Omega version is the equally familiar one of crime-fighting drill sergeant bumping heads and egos with a promising but green soldier trying to harden him so that he can survive the harsh streets of a failed Fortune City. It's a battle of wills and an uneven partnership that fosters more suspicion than trust because in their world, trust kills. It's also relatable if you look at the variations through the lenses of, say, Dick Grayson's Robin versus a Jason Todd Robin story, or as a step on the genesis toward their both respective versions of Nightwing versus Red Hood. The story shows the power of both mentoring approaches and why they might work in keeping the young heroes alive in their respective settings. Dragonfly isn't wrong. Now, he's enlisted a kid to fight in a monstrous war for the streets of his city, and just like countries who enlist kids to fight, defend, and kill, the DI approach isn't kind, but it isn't meant to be cruel. It's meant to develop quick responses and hypervigilance and the tactical expertise that will keep a young soldier alive. And I think he does that. He shows that exceedingly well in the narrative. Leonard Kirk's art helps both Earths in this issue, and it's easy to see why Peter David has cited Kirk as one of 3 artists whose work most closely resembles the mental visuals that he imagines when penning his stories. It's pretty high praise. Kirk gives my personal favorite penciler of the title, James Eigel, a hard run for excellence in both the clean and precise William Dozier 1966 superheroics and that blood-stained violent 1990s anti-hero arena. The naming of Brain Drain's Earth Alpha henchman is pure camp pleasure as well. This includes, when you're a villain named Brain Drain, you've got to have, in the 1966 world, you've got to have henches named Frontal Lobe, Cerebrum, and Cerebellum. and then you got to have each name labeled on their black sweatshirts as a bonus.
Oh no!
I love that kind of stuff. Now, this is an ensemble creative team, which I love. Now, their approach to this isn't necessarily as deeply rooted as some, but it's also a one-shot teaming, and for that, for the simple fact of the kind of tale this is, and their contributions impacting the overall efforts, they're noticeable. As a temp team, they work very well together. Colorist Paul Little's bright and glowing alpha palette, contrasting the dark and dreary omega hues, he adds his own layer in defining the two different worlds. Letterer Rob Steen does similar service with the alternative sound effect fonts. He has the chirp chirp of an alpha criminal alert, and over in Omega it becomes an industrial klaxon of bang. It's just perfect. They both add layers with their contributions. So there's not a lot bad about this issue, but while Wade does a decent job of balancing between the two Earths, the Earth Alpha narrative version requires more setup and explanation. The Earth Omega iteration is more straightforward with reliance on a bigger twist than its counter product, but it feels like we get more and longer scenes from Earth Alpha side because of this. It was enough so that I had to go back and I conducted a page count to see. And Earth Alpha gets 4 more total pages than Earth Omega does. And while that's understandable, it was also noticeable and it felt like a slight shortchanging of the Omega input. So except for that slightly uneven balance that was noticeable as you go through the issue, it's a really great standalone. The takeaway of the standalone one-shots, this one it ties for my favorite alongside Gail Simone's salute to the Archie Comics universe of old in the Wrong Earth Trapped on Teen Planet. That was the first of these special one-shots. This story is grounded. It's beautifully paced, as such parallel tales should be. And the entire creative team shares each page, on each page, their individual additions to a cohesive whole that exceeds even the already high quality of its parts. So my score for the Wrong Earth Confidence Men, #1, is going to be 8.5 out of 10.
Nice. Very cool.
That is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds real good.
And the first one was really good. The 2 and 3, they're not bad, but this one really Wade knocks it out of the park. I like the fact that it's focused on the sidekicks and their difference, and nobody better than Wade to tell this story, I don't think.
He's one of my favorite writers.
Yeah.
So very cool. Thank you, Clyde.
You're welcome.
All right. Now, before Joe gets to his reviews,
Yes.
Cindy Cap has some more jokes. Did you hear the joke about the superhero Windman? I don't know what it was, but apparently everyone was blown away. And what do you get when you cross the superhero in the Dead Sea? A Deadpool.
Yep.
And what name do you call a pair of villainous twins? Loki-like.
That's good. That's good.
Getting good. And where does Spider-Man hang out in his spare time? On the World Wide
Why
Web.
Yeah.
And what game show features superheroes? The Great Escape.
The
Great Escape, yeah.
Yeah.
And who's the Incredible Hulk's alter ego? The Credible Hulk. That's the name of a page on Facebook that has scientific facts with a humorous slant. I'm a member of that page. And why is it hard to get to know Iron Man? What can I say? He has a tough exterior. And what does Wonder Woman change her name to when she travels? Wandering Woman. And then what do heroes like Spider-Man and Ant-Man have in common? They bug the villains. And why do superheroes always get the bad guys? Because they're so capable. And what do cameras and superheroes have in common? A flash.
Now speaking of that, what is the Flash's favorite pop song?
What is it?
If it's Jay Gyrick, it's the Beach Boys. And if it's anybody else, it's Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. Good Vibrations.
I like it. Oh, and Carl Witzman asks, was that one of our cats or one of Clyde's cats? I may have been off camera by then. I know occasionally I hear Joe's chair squeaking, but or it could be my spine cracking when I stand up. It could be that. So anyway, no idea. Maybe it's your cats are learning ventriloquism, Carl. Sleep light.
I think it was one of yours because my cat's been back and forth, but I haven't heard her. So
okay, there we go. And Parallel Stories sounds intriguing, says Carl. Yeah, Ahoy puts out some really, really great comics. I had reviewed the entire series of My Bad a few months ago, and that was well.
And I did get Glit 2 and 3.
There you go.
I have that right now. I just haven't read them yet.
Cool. Well, there's a couple books that Joe D. McFee has read, and he's getting ready to review them right now. I'm the master of the segue. Here we go. We're giving the screen and the spotlight to Joe D. McFee.
And this is probably one of the reasons why I really don't care for ties, because when I really prepare for one, I'm not really prepared to do both at the same time. So I'm going to start with the one that, to me, if I had to compare it to say which one is better, I'm going to start with the one that I feel the least about here. Doesn't mean that it's not good. It's just that I like the other one a tad bit better. So we want to start off with one of the books that was in the tie, and that's going to be Captain Carter #3. Now, this was the book that I went back, for a couple of episodes just to make certain that I didn't review it. And I was like, for some reason, I just had a nagging feeling that I did here. Now, I want you to pay attention to the cover because that is a known character, but he looks much, much different in this universe here. But we'll get to who he is in a second here.
There you go.
So this issue, and I hate to say the inside cover has an ad, but this issue pretty much starts out with all of these headlines here, talking about Hydra and all the different things here, and then all the different headlines of what's going on after this one major attack here. And then we get the credits page, and I'm going to highlight the credits page first here, because that's how Captain Carter #2 left off with Bessie Braddock coming in and being held at gunpoint and whatnot and everything. So now we have Jamie McCavey as the writer. Marika Cresta as the artist, Matt Milla as the colorist here. And pretty much that's the only important thing, because now they're getting into editors and assistant editors and editors in chief. And I didn't even realize that he was still there for this book. Wow. But anyway, I won't mention that other person's name here because he's a controversial figure. I remember that much. So pretty much we got to Elizabeth Braddock's apartment. She's being held at gunpoint, and she kind of like realized what's everything going on, you know, and this, that, and the other. So she decides to fight back at the very end. And then, well, all else fails. She thought she had the upper hand, and she falls over the couch. They come over the top and everything, and they have her pinned down. They're about to get ready to execute her, and that's where we get the shot that I'm up here. It's like, yep, that's the same Betsy Braddock, aka Psylocke.
Okay.
So Psylocke is in the Captain Carter universe as a whole here. So once she activates her powers, telekinesis comes in, and she's pretty much whooping the mess out of the people who's invading her apartment. They decide to try to scatter and whatnot, and they end up escaping and whatnot. However, they left a weapon behind, and that's when she sees it. It's the mark of the agency that she works for. So why did the agency that she worked for try to kill her? So she decides to call Peggy to let them know, it's like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what just happened to me. I'm about to go to a safe house. You need to head to somewhere safe. And again, we got another advertisement for Multiverse of Madness. Oh, I guess this book just haven't been selected in a long time, because I'm just looking at the advertisement for Multiverse of Madness, and they say in May 6th. It's like, maybe I did retire this book. Yeah, I just brought it back here. So Betsy and Peggy ended up meeting at one of her neighbor's apartment and whatnot, and they get into a whole conversation about what they need to do, how they're going to go about dealing with the fact that the agency that they work for, which is Strike, is pretty much turned their backs on it. It was like, why? Betsy is saying, hey, I gotta lay low because I can't just be seen out of public because they're going to come back after me again. So, they're trying to plan out their next play. So Peggy goes into Strike headquarters the next, pretty much, acting like nothing different had happened, this, that, and the other. And then, she's up here. It's like, hey, it's like, you going to lunch? No, I'm not doing anything. I just pretty much going to, she's pretty much going to sit back and wait for the director to show up. But she got everybody else out to get some key files here to figure out what's really going on and everything out of the director's office. And then next thing you know, she hears the director behind her. And pretty much she's up here, telling her, it's like, hey, I was waiting for you and this, that, and the other, because we need to talk. It's like, hey, needed to talk to you anyway. We're in the middle of a dire situation. We need you in this one briefing. We need for you to head over there right now. So she goes, everybody's still there, that nobody giving her any indication about what's going to happen and everything. So she goes into the briefing, and then pretty much in the briefing, they say, hey, we're finally glad you're here. It's like, see, and then this is where the whole conversation goes to like one word that just didn't make any sense across the board here, because she already knows that there's tension and they're about to get ready to attack her. And then she takes, instead of waiting for them to come after her, she takes the initial offensive and pretty much, kind of like beats the whole room to a pulp here. And while everybody else is like calmly, outside working and everything, she's up here fighting for her life inside the briefing room. Nobody inside, outside is doing anything. And then we go back to Haley's apartment and everything. And then that's when, Betsy kind of realizes like, okay, she's really in trouble, this, that, and the other. We've had to find a way to get her out of there. We have to find some type of safe house again, not to keep anybody, not to keep anybody, no, actually they talked about the information that she's got, just found and everything about the voicemail, and she played the voicemail, and that's when they found out about what was about to get ready to go down with Peggy. And while Peggy is still fighting and everything, she finally breaks out the room, head down this, I shouldn't say the fire escape, but the back way out, everything, jumps at everything. She's down at the kind of like the base level of strike headquarters, and people are just up here acting like normal and whatnot and everything. And then we got another advertisement for the variants, and I remember what that book is about, but I'm not going to go into it. Like I said, all these advertisements don't mean nothing to me anymore. So now we got Peggy there, and Peggy was up here, asked if another woman came through here, which we believe was like I can't even think of her name. Not the Black Widow that we know that was played by Scarlett Johansson. It's the sister. So Peggy was asking if they saw her come through here, and nobody says anything. And then at that point, remember how I mentioned about this guy right here and how important he is? He finally shows up. It's like, hey, can I get a moment with you, this, that, and the other? And he pretty much say, hey, you knew my grandfather, Howard. Yeah, that is Tony Stark. So now Tony, this is his first introduction to Peggy in this universe. He went to strike headquarters and everything, and she kind of like blows him off and whatnot. As far as, okay, I'm kind of in a rush. I'm trying to track down this one person. It's very important that I, find her, because, it's a matter of security that's at stake here. So there's where she's at right now while all of this is happening, while they're talking and everything. And then you see her, bring it to action. It's like, okay, fine. And then Tony was like, hey, she's exactly how I thought she was going to be, this, that, and the other. So Peggy takes off on her motorcycle, come across a couple of things. Then she finally gets a call from Betsy. And then that way, now Peggy is in the know as far as everything that she does, and gave her the coordinates of where she might want to track the woman right here, where her whereabouts might be. However, at the same turns, she's calmly going back to her normal location and everything to kind of set up the rest of her master plan at this point. So she's not worried at anything. And however, Betsy is still, with Haley trying to figure out what the next play is, and they're looking at photos and everything. And they're up there looking at the prime minister and his involvement with all the different people that's currently involved with strike as of right now. So about a half hour later, Peggy finally comes to the core and is tracking old girl back to this one location. So Betsy is up here, contacting, still in contact with Peggy, was trying to, give her kind of like more of a heads up as far as what to expect. coming into that situation here. And lo and behold, there's a guy on top of the roof, shoots a rocket at her. Pretty much at the last second here. Here comes Tony Stark with some rocket boots on, moving Peggy out the way, and the missile hit the car. And Peggy's up here. It's like, what in the world are you doing? It's like, hey, like I said, I'm Howard Stark's, grandson, this, that, or the other. Howard made me aware of everything that had happened back in the day. I was hoping to, have kind of like, that same type of relationship as a whole here. And she said, okay, fine. But at the very end, it's like, I just hope that you can pretty much hold your own, because pretty much your grandfather could. And now this is about to be the very first fight that this version of Tony Stark and Peggy Carter gets into as quote unquote the captain of this universe versus with the, I'm not certain if he's Iron Man as of yet in this one, but it's to be continued at this point. Now, the cool thing that I like about this here is that they're saying that the cover is going to be pretty much like this, where Peggy Carter is going to be wanted. And that leads us into issue number 4 here. Overall, like I said, I like the issue, but it's not the most enjoyable read out of the 2 that I have here. The good things about it is that we got more of the lore, and we actually got getting to understand that there's more and more characters that we know from the original Marvel universe that's in this parallel universe for Captain Carter. So we finally got Tony Stark here. So Tony Stark is in this universe, and we now know that Elizabeth Braddock is Psylocke from the X-Men. So they're crossing a lot of different branches here, and it's getting to the point where now they're approaching the legend of Captain Carter from the British aspect of things here. I mean, she's not Steve, and they can't really call her Captain America, but they can't really call her Captain Britain either. It's kind of like its own mythos within itself. Now, how they plan to keep this going with the rest of the Marvel universe is going to be kind of an interesting play now, because as they establish more and more of how she tied into this particular universe, they're going to have to eventually say either this is an alternate reality where she's still alive, or how they did like a what if, like the whole series is like a big what if universe.
I know one thing. If they're going to put a price on Peggy's head, I'd be insulted if it was $100,000, what it looked like. She's going to do a Bugs Bunny on him and like get it upped. She's going to be taking him to task, and she won't be satisfied until she hits $1 million, I don't think. You've
been known to do that so far in this series from like issue number 1. Remember when they found her?
Yeah.
When they found it, because remember, it's like the one thing that I love about issue number 1, they played a lot towards the origin of Steve Rogers, but how she would react to it. And when they finally thawed her out, and Strike was up here trying to figure out what to do with her, she's just sitting there just like, really, guys, you guys going to have this conversation about me, but not include me into this. In this conversation. And she got so pissed off that she kind of got their attention by smashing a table and then telling them, I'm about to go home. Y'all do whatever y'all going to do, but leave me out of it.
Yep.
And now they're going to put a bounty on her head like that, thinking that she's an easy prey. And Albert's like, you guys don't remember what she can do. It's almost like they're playing up the more of the foreign aspect of intergender relationships in Captain Carter, and some of the inequities between men and women on that aspect. Because half of the time they don't even realize that she is a superhuman. They just see woman. It's like, no, she's a superhuman. She doesn't have that, machismo that most other men would carry. But if you push her, she's more dangerous than any other man that would have equivalent superpowers. She's just as capable.
I want to see the D-listers that line up for that $100,000 bounty go out. That ought to be an interesting couple of pages.
I want to see how Howard Stark's not Howard, but Tony deal with this situation.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. I want to see how Tony deals with this situation, because we saw the rocket shoes. The question is, does this Tony have the technology to transport the armor the way that he's been doing it as of lately? He can just call it at will, and it floats to him, and it automatically bonds to his body, where he become Iron Man. Mm-hmm. That's the thing that we haven't seen. We haven't seen him in this version of in this universe versions of Iron Man armor, and he has not been proven in a fight as of yet either. So we don't know what his capabilities are. Mm-hmm. Just like it was into this issue that we finally saw that Betsy still does have her psionic powers, that she still can do telekinesis and all the other stuff. You remember in the second issue, we finally meet Betsy Braddock for the very first time in this universe, and she's a spy. She never used her powers until that moment in issue number 3. So that's why at first I was thinking it's like, oh, it just might be coincidence that, Captain Britain's brother works for Strike and she has no powers. And I was like, oh, so she pretty much keeps those powers kind of like a hush hush and only use it when she truly needs it. That's going to be interesting. Mm-hmm. And now we got Tony here. And now they're thinking that something is going on with the prime minister and that the prime minister might be crooked. So, yeah, it's going to get interesting. This is not, if you're a fan of Captain America, you may not like some of the storytelling in this, but to me, it's more intricate than like a lot of those old Captain America stories, because you don't know how Peggy is going to actually think her way through this. Like how Steve will always look for the perfect solution, Peggy improvises a lot throughout the whole time here. Just like the whole thing about the briefing room. Steve would have actually came in there, sat down, would have gone through the whole briefing, let them talk and do all this other stuff before it allowed them to attack him. Peggy went in there and it's like, yeah, we're about to do this, and y'all not going to say anything to me. And she just took the fight to him. That subtle difference makes a difference in how her version of being a Captain America or being a super soldier is different from Steve. Mm-hmm. She has a completely different reaction or a different means of approaching the problem as opposed to Steve. And I don't think that's going to cause her too much of a problem here. However, the one thing that I don't see that the super soldier serum is really dealt with her with as of yet, because remember, it brings out the qualities about you. So we see that she's pure-hearted enough, but the one other thing that is known about Peggy is that she's stubborn. Mm-hmm. And we haven't seen stubborn on steroids from her yet. And that's where I'm kind of like, I wonder if the books are going to get that way here. But before I go that long on talking about Captain Carter number 3, which I will give a 7.5 out of 10. We still have to deal with the other book, which impressed me, despite the fact that I really don't care too much for modern image books as of yet. But this, after reading the story, I'm up here like, well done.
Mm-hmm.
And that book is Do a Powerbomb. And yes, that's the name of the title. Do a Powerbomb. And when I first mentioned it to the guys here at Comic Book Spectrum, they were up here thinking it's like, oh, I'm making this stuff up or I'm talking about something else. It's like, no, that's the name of the comic. It says it right there.
I thought it was something you were going to do on the air.
No. No,
I'm highly disappointed.
No, that's the name of the book. It's called
Yes,
Do a Powerbomb. It is written by Daniel Warren Johnson. And I shouldn't say written. It was written and drawn and created by Daniel Warren Johnson. Colors by Mike Spicer. Letters by Russ Wooten. And the variant cover. And I can go ahead and show that because I do have that one here. The variant cover, which is also a nice variant cover here. Mm-hmm. This one was done by James Harren. So this is the James Harren cover right here of Do a Powerbomb #1.
Have you ever read Murder Falcon?
No.
That's where I first ran into Daniel Warren Johnson, and it's a real stylistic but cool story. And when I saw that he was the main creative force behind this, I was like, and that, it has to do with wrestling. I was like, I'm there. Okay.
Well, he's also been the writer on Action Comics for the last couple of years too. So he does some good work.
Mm-hmm. So we start off with a person watching a pro wrestling show here. So we don't know who's watching the pro wrestling show, and it gets into the crux of the matter. It's going to be the beloved champion Yoa Steel Rose versus the Coberson in a championship match and everything to that magnitude. And they're pretty much, it starts off with the commentators hyping it up and everything. And then it goes backstage where Yo is up here preparing to come to the ring and everything. She has her championship belt. She makes certain that, her costume, I shouldn't say her costume, but her wrestling gear is intact and everything. And she's about ready to go out there. And then, there's her husband standing, in the wings and whatnot, and gives her a kiss for good luck. And then here's this one little kid come running up, and it turns out that's her daughter. And the daughter, comes in and gives moms a hug and everything. And that's when, the kid was up here. It's like, what's the matter? It's like, oh, nothing's wrong. It's just that fight. It's just like I'm fighting for you, fighting for, she's up here. It's like she's fighting, putting herself in this, as champion. She's fighting this match for her and fighting the match for pretty much, the right reasons here. And then there's the uncle who pretty much, helped her throughout her career and everything. And they're pretty much, getting her ready to come out to a capacity crowd and everything. The husband tells her that the whole "I love you," she says it back and everything. And then, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, everything is about to go down here. So she comes out to a roaring crowd and everything, and as champions are, they hold up the belt and everything, and she beats the champion that she normally is, and gives a very rousing speech about how she fights for a child, how she fights for the love of her life, and how she fights for everybody that's in the crowd and everything. And the crowd is just eating it up and everything. And it was just, the speech was so good that it made the uncle there cry and everything. However, before she could get it out real good, here comes Coberson coming out from the back and everything, and he ordered them to cut the music and everything, and pretty much cuts a shoot type promo on her just before the match and everything. And there's the little bitty kid. There's telling the mom to kick his ass and whatnot. So the match starts. So they come at one another, and pretty much, she gets the upper hand and everything. And then Coberson comes in and, gets a nasty little blow and whatnot on her. And they're going to town, in this whole wrestling match and everything. And then Coberson throws her out the ring and whatnot, and she lands into the crowd. So, again, the person who wrote this, they got a good aspect of a lot of the in-ring stuff that would normally happen. He goes to the ropes, he springboards off and lands on her in the crowd while the crowd is still standing around her. So this is getting back to like old school 80s wrestling as opposed to modern day wrestling right now. Because if they actually went into the crowd like that in today's standards, they would have to move the crowd out the way to give them space. It would have been more planned. It's like the people would not be like in the middle to kind of cushion the blow and stuff like that, because again, if somebody got hurt, that would be on the wrestling promotion to deal with whatever injuries and everything to that
lawsuit.
Exactly. So that's why I said this is going akin to old school 80s wrestling in that aspect here. That plus if you also look at the barricade, those are like old school barricades too, but you can't really say that it's not modern wrestling, because even with the old school barricades, it could be a different promotion, and that's what they use here. So after the aerial move up in the crowd, he takes her, rolls her back in. Now she's out on her feet right now. So Yua's out on her feet. She gets rolled back in. Cobra Sun picks her up, about to get ready to do a top rope powerbomb. And the kid is up here. It's like, no, mom, wake up. You got to do something and everything. And then, as he was trying to get her up into the corner for the move and everything, that's when the uncle finally sees it. His foot slips. And because he's off balance, he's like, no, not now, not now. And you can see the look of horror in his face. And as a result of the slip, he drops her in such a way.
That's bad.
Where that happens. And everybody knows something's not right at that point. Now, this is happening on live television and everything. So Cobra Sun is like, he goes towards it, and then the referee is, kind of like getting him to back away and everything. And then this is where the announcers is up here is like, oh no, we don't know what to make of it. So the daughter leaves the crowd and goes to the ring and everything. And she's up here like, mom, wake up. Mom, wake up. You got to get up. Mom, you got to get up and everything. And this is where the referee calls in for the paramedics and everything to that magnitude. And they put her out on the stretcher and whatnot and everything. And they're up here telling the daughter to like move away and everything to that magnitude. And while all of this was happening on television, we get to see the guy who's watching it in the background and saying, this is just perfect. So there's the uncle and the daughter is up here, saying one more, please. And then she's reflecting back to talking to her mom and whatnot. And this is one I look at this, this scene here as, being quite awesome as far as the storytelling is concerned. And it's like, okay, it's time for you to go to sleep. It's like, then will you stay with me at least for a few more minutes? And you was like, yeah, okay, I could do that. And then she asked the question. It's like, mom, and she's like, where do we go after our life? And she's like, oh, you mean dying? I guess so. Well, I never really know. Somewhere far away, somewhere light or warm, or maybe it's a big mystery. Don't worry. And she kissed her good night and everything. And then it comes back up. Well, yeah, there we go. Let me bring it back into focus here, because I have to get it back into the camera. Because that's the cool thing about that, because it's like she finally asked mom about death, and she's like, well, it's a big mystery that she doesn't know, and it told her not to worry about that, and kissed her good night. And then it comes back to the emergency room, And Dad comes around the corner, and then it's like, and then she asks Dad. It's like, Dad, and then that's when the dad told her, Mom's dead. And they hug and embrace and whatnot. So that's the night that her mom died. Fast forward 10 years later, and I'm going to zoom in on that. 10 years later, the daughter takes up wrestling and whatnot, and now she's kind of like a jobber in this aspect here. So she's, doing wrestling matches and everything, and she's pretty much getting the snot beat out of her as of right now, because that's kind of like the role that she's playing at this point. And one thing after another, and she's just taking a beating, but yet she gets back up, showing that she could take all this other stuff here. Her opponent whiffs and whatnot. She tries her best to put her in the submission lock. However, her opponent gets to the ropes and whatnot and does this one reversal move where pretty much knocks the wind out of her, and her opponent ends up pinning her for the 1, 2, 3. Then it goes backstage to where her uncle was there, and her uncle was like, yeah, hey, thanks for coming in, last minute to kind of be like a replacement and whatnot. And then she asked the uncle to kind of wait. It's like, I was thinking that maybe again, next weekend I could try my hand at a few more wrestlers on the roster, because she really wants to get better at doing this here. And it's like, well, what is it? Just tell me I can handle it. And then that's when the uncle was like, well, for starters, you're green. You're really green. I could tell you that you haven't done this professionally. It's like, but she's saying, but I've been in training and everything, but she's like, but the uncle knows that she's not ready for prime time like a lot of these other wrestlers are in his in the organization that he works for. So the uncle is kind of like, put in a position where he made her aware about a promise that he made to her mother to not allow her to really pursue the wrestling in that aspect here without really getting into it with her. So as she was, walking away from everything, somebody calls out from a distance and everything from the arena, and it turns out to be her dad. And her dad, is up here. It's like, hey, I really wanted to talk to you. I really, wanted to talk to you about all the stuff that he's been dealing with as far as her, turning to wrestling and whatnot. And, Lona, the actual daughter, is up here. It's like, hey, I told you not to come to my matches. Everything is okay. I just really want to do this. This is something that I was like, he's not going to, she's not going to be like, hey, I'm not going to do the wrestling because that's something that I really want to do in remembrance of her. And that's when dad finally admits that, he actually talked to the uncle about her not wanting to wrestle and whatnot. And that's when he admits, it's like, how can you blame me? I don't want to lose you like I lost her due to wrestling. And that leads into a whole nother can of worms where they are at one another's throats, and she pretty much walks away, feeling the way that she did. And that's when we see the guy in the cut again, thinking like, this is the perfect opportunity here. So as she walked away from her dad and everything, he calls out to her, and that's this dude. And now we get to see him in his full glory and whatnot. And he pretty much like, hey, I didn't mean to frighten you. I'm up here, coming to you with a proposition and whatnot. And he's up here. It's like, well, what do you want? It's like, what do you want to talk to me about this, that, or the other? And he was like, hey, let me show you what I'm talking about here. It'll be easier for me to show you than to tell you about it. And what he wanted to show her was this. So they teleported back to his place. And pretty much it's a kind of like a big, dark, desolate area, but it has a well-lit wrestling ring. And she's trying to figure out, well, what is this? And that's when he tells her, my name is Willard Neckerton. Welcome to the Baron Bastion, my castle and my home. I am a necromancer. I'm running a tournament, but it's not. And then he mentions, like, I'm running a tournament, but it's not for a belt. And then that's when he tells her the true rub here. And what he says is like, I would like to talk to you about bringing your mom back to life. And it to be continued. So now she has even more of a reason to wrestle.
Beware of necromancers bearing gifts is all I got to say.
That's right. That never works out well.
So we got like a little bitty short letter from Daniel Warren Johnson, which I haven't read as of yet. But after that, we got a couple of cool pictures from concepts that was done by other artists here, which was pretty decent. And that's when they talk about the other swag that you could get here and the upcoming comic art cover and whatnot. No, well, not upcoming art cover, but you know, where you could get commissions and stuff from Daniel Warren Johnson and everything from Felix Comic Art.
Mm-hmm.
And that pretty much ends the book at that point. Now, this book really impressed me because of the simple fact of when I think of a #1 issue, it hits all those buttons correctly to make me interested to get the next one. It made me want to feel for the main character, which was Lona. It also painted a great picture of the person who she looked up to, which was Yua. It also painted a picture of how the world was set around her, where pretty much people were there to kind of protect her based upon how she felt at the time, trying to pay respect to her mother's contribution to wrestling. Remember, her mother was the champion of that federation that her uncle works for. So with everything that she's seen as a kid, to get to the point 10 years later to start her career, everybody's trying to talk her out of it. To have this necromancer come back and say, hey, I got a proposition for you. It's not about winning the title belt. It's about bringing your mom back to life. Having a story where you're about to be offered the one thing that you wish that you could have back. And the only thing you have to do is prove that pretty much, it seems like it's going to be more or less, you're going to pretty much prove that you're the best wrestler out there based upon all of these other circumstances that the necromancer can throw at you. It kind of makes it interesting for young Lona to actually hear him out, despite warnings from her dad and uncle to try to give up wrestling. So with that being said, Do a Powerbomb is a very engaging story in that aspect. It checks off, like I said, all the boxes here. Did I get a character that I could follow and relate to? Check. Did I get a good, compelling story where I want to follow up to see what happens next? Check. Did we get good supporting cast characters that pretty much, you know, falls in line to telling a great story? Check with her uncle and father and the necromancer up to this point, because remember, we saw the necromancer from the very beginning watching the show itself. So there's something deeper that's going on there than anything. And then with the side story of the memory of Lona and Yuna at Yuna's bedtime talking about death also plays a factor. And again, that's another checkbox to mark off. Motivation to keep doing, to move in the direction that the story is taking you. That box was checked off. So, this to me is what I consider a typical good issue number 1 should be. And with that being stated, I'll give this book a 9 out of 10.
Oh, nice.
Very cool.
Nice.
Very cool.
She needs to talk to Johnny Blaze before she signs any contracts, though, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And I did like the art. I mean, I have seen Mr. Johnson's work in other DC books. Like I know he did one story in the Superman Red and Blue.
Now,
and his stuff's popped up, but this one seems more suited to this type of story.
Yeah.
Now, what I found very interesting here is dealing with her mom and what happened to her mom in that wrestling ring. The only thing that they didn't do was to have the referee go like this. Normally, that is the signal to matches stop. There's an immediate medical emergency where the participant can't go on. It has to be a stoppage. They came so close of doing that symbol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like only people who are really high into wrestling would know what that would have represented. But based upon how he illustrated what happened, it would have been an automatic. It's like with the daughter coming into the ring and everything, it would have been like, no.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He would have turned to the back where they came out of, would have went like this, and then did what he did, which was attended to the fallen wrestler.
Right.
But they didn't show this symbol. I was like, it would have been perfect if we would have did that.
Well, maybe next time. I'm sure this will come up again, because
Well,
they have that old saying about when red
subtleties of
turns
wrestling.
to green. So
Well, that's the subtleties of wrestling. Because remember, he gave us as close of a wrestling match as he could. Because, like I said, it's like I'm taking this as like 1980s wrestling based upon the way everything was set up with the barricades and all the other stuff. Or at least or at least a smaller organization.
right.
Not really like something that's like minor leagues, but they were big enough where they brought crowds.
And giving the daughter time to grow up. Yeah, it would be 80s or 90s era. So were they using that symbol during that time period? Were they? Okay.
Yeah, that's an old one.
Okay.
Yeah. Now we have some comments here. See, Michael Lanning, glad to have you here. See, can we still see Joe do a power bomb anyway? Cast your votes now. So let's see it happen. All right, Carl Witzman goes paranormal wrestling now. Where will it end? It won't, Carl. And Rian, glad to see you here. Nice, glad you enjoyed it. And Carl Witzman says, good show, guys. Must go pester Joe Dog for a bit now. That's Stupid O'Clock. Check out the Stupid O'Clock channel going on now until for the next 2 hours, then followed by Dan Holofield's Last Man Standing. Great geek conversation. And thank you, Joe. That was a great review.
That was good.
Yeah,
Like I said, I was happy that people picked this one because I was raving. You guys knew I was raving about it after I read it.
Yeah.
I was like, this surprised me. I was expecting something completely different, but this surprised me. This one here, like I said, it was not a bad read. It just confirmed that this particular universe is completely different than everything that's going to happen in the Marvel universe as a whole. I think this is probably going to be the direction that storytelling is going to be dealing with the MCU.
It's going to open a lot of possibilities if they capitalize on them.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see.
Right. Now, Cindy Kep has a lot of jokes for us. We must get through them because they're funny. Why did the ad agency hire a Hydra? She knew how to wear many different hats. And why did Aquaman join the DC universe instead of Marvel? Because he was Hydra-phobic. And what do you get when you cross Captain America with the Incredible Hulk? Star-Spangled Banner.
The banner, yeah.
Love it, Cindy. And why did Captain America wait so long to carry Thor's hammer? He didn't want to steal his thunder. In Captain America, the Hulk, Thor, and Iron Man all get Lego sets for Christmas. Avengers Assemble! Same thing with bicycles. And did you hear Ant-Man will be in Captain America 3? I hear it will be a small role. And why doesn't wrestling make sense? It's a bunch of guys without pants fighting for a belt. I never thought of that.
That was a good one. That's a
makes
good one.
sense. Wow. And I always bring a piece of paper to a wrestling match just in case The Rock is my opponent.
Our favorite
I love
Cinder.
that. Brilliant, Cindy. And I watched this awesome show called Origami Wrestling yesterday. It was on pay-per-view. And two silkworms are in a wrestling match. It ended in a tie. And have you ever seen a wrestling match? Of course you haven't. Matches can't wrestle if they come in boxes.
Yeah.
Very good, Cindy. Thank you very much, darling. And check out ckoepp.com. Not only is that a fun website, but sign up for her newsletter because that's always great. Every month, great reading. And check out her Patreon page with the same search argument, CKOEPP.
Follow the Princess of Puns in all of her iterations.
That's right. We haven't had any
Across
jokes
the
from
webs.
Cindy for a good long time.
Yeah.
This is quite refreshing. Well done, Cindy. And well done, gentlemen.
Yes.
Good show.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
show.
you.
Yes, and so let's go around the room and we'll go Clyde, then Joe, then me, and we'll end this. What you say? All right?
Okay.
All right.
You can do that.
Clyde, take it away.
All right.
Give it back when you're done.
Give it back when I'm done.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to say, we talked about Happy Father's Day last week, and I got to tell you, Eric Hawkins, we miss you, and we want you to come back. We want to see you soon, but you kind of upped the ante as far as we used to throw comic books that disappointed us. Well, for Father's Day, I got something new here. There's not going to be any throwing of books.
Holy cow!
There'll be a mini chainsawing of books. So stay tuned, folks. The next one that really disappoints me, it's going to get shredded. So Monkey Meat's fate will have nothing on what I do. So
Wow. I'm gonna put Chainsaw Massacre #1.
Yeah. Wow.
But in the meantime, greetings, my friends. We're all interested in the future of comic books, for that is where you and I are going to spend the rest of our comic book reading lives. And remember, my friends, future events such as these will affect you in the future. You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable, and that is why you are here and why you come back here each week to Comic Book Spectrum, because we bring you all the best reviews based only on the secret testimony of the miserable souls who've survived their terrifying reading ordeals. My friend, it could be worse. We could be submitting the shocking facts about grave robbers from outer space, but instead of comic book entertainment from your local comic book shop place. I'm Clyde Hall, independent author and contributing writer. Where do I contribute, you ask? And even if you didn't ask, I'm going to tell you. I do online comic reviews at Comics Bookcase at www.comicsbookcase.com and at Doomrocket, www.doomrocket.com. But news soon on a new opportunity opening up for me in the realm of comic book review venues. And I will be telling you more about that probably after the 1st of July, if everything works out well. It's good news, nothing bad, but you're just going to have to wait and hear about all of the changes then. I'm also a contributing writer at Stormgate Press. I have work appearing in their award-winning, as BKM said before, the award-winning pulp series, Pulp Reality 1, 2, and 3,
Three glorious volumes.
They are available on Amazon, and you should also go to www.stormgatepress.com to see the full variety of new pulp publications that we have to offer. Also, look for my upcoming contribution to the 10th anniversary celebration for Charles F. Milhouse's Captain Hawkins series coming soon. I got to see proposed cover illustrations by Jeffrey Hayes, our friend at Plasma Fire Graphics. All I can say is chef's kiss. Jeff, you said you were going to tweak it a little bit. And if you do, I'm sure it'll be even better, but it's already wonderful. And thank you so much for your hard work getting my novella ready. So in the meantime, you can find me here every Thursday night, keeping company with these fine Rising Tide Broadcast Network folks on Comic Book Spectrum.
Excellent. Now, before we go to Joe, we have a comment from a very special guest, Mr.
Ooh.
Brian Rodman. All right, Clyde, my wallet is out and my pull box is ready. You pusher. And I am going to read this. I miss you, dudes. We miss you too, Brian, so much, brother. One day my lungs will be filled and my nipples will be hard as I join you once again.
Oh, TMI, but yeah, join us. Join us. We want to see you back, Brian.
And your nipples.
Yeah, well, okay.
We love you, Brian. We
want to see Luna too. So, we'll take it as a package deal. Your nipples and Luna. Okay.
There we go. Oh, pardon me. I have to excuse myself. But anyway, with that segue, thank you, Clyde Hall.
Yes.
And try following this, Joe D. McFee.
I can't because again, I don't know about the whole nipple thing. That's something that I just don't do for the audience as a whole here. But I am Joe D. McFee. You can catch me this upcoming Saturday on From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher, where I have no idea what I'm going to do. So I'm probably going to end up either doing some more comic book reviews, or I'll probably end up doing part 3. Yes, 3 on the topic that I've been talking about here, which is preservation versus investment. And if I do part 3 of that series, it's probably going to be more along the lines of talking about how there is a great need for a pricing guide for raw comic books now more than ever. And the reason for that, and the reason, to spin off into that, is because the more and more that you look around with comic book collecting today, everything else is more geared towards the grading aspect, and we got way too many vendors and way too many part-time sellers trying to use graded prices for raw comics, and it's just like the deviation and the actual pricing between graded versus raw is just beyond ridiculousness here. So with having certain tools at hand, I could show people why graded things that are being used for graded pricing should only stick with graded pricing, because it's a 1-to-1 correlation, as opposed to using the graded. And when I say graded, I'm talking about the ones that are encapsulated versus the raw books, which needs their own grading scale. And sometimes it may make you want to think, should I go ahead and get this encapsulated to increase the value or not? But that's if we get to part 3 this weekend. But I don't know, it depends on how I feel either tomorrow or Saturday morning. So be prepared to see what the topic is between now and then. Outside of that, I got to fulfill my Amazonia Kickstarter for issue number 7 of Amazonia. As soon as the money is deposited, we will release all the digital content here. We placed the order here with the printers. I already ran some numbers here, and like I said, this is just a piece of paper with numbers and everything. I'm not going to translate what those numbers mean as of yet, so I know what I need to order, how much I need to order, and things to that magnitude. So if you did back for me here, if last time I checked here, it was only 3 people who haven't submitted in the number 3. But the 3 people who have not submitted payment as of yet here. So if you happen to be one of those 3, double check on that here, because the sooner that you get that done, the sooner we can move forward here as a whole here. And if it gets to the point where you can't make it within that time frame, it's still not going to hurt those who did pay on time, because we're going to do the order regardless as a whole, is because it's not going to affect you as a whole here. Outside of that, I will be here next Thursday right here with some more comic book reviews here. Some of the things to look forward to is issue number 4 of G.I. Joe Saturday Morning Adventures. Like I said,
3 plus 1.
Huh?
Or 3 plus 1.
3 plus 1. 4. 4 glorious issues. But But again, everybody loves the Count from Sesame Street here. And that's the cool thing here. We got that. We got Glit 2 and 3, which I start here on this show. So that means it's not going to be on my show on Saturdays unless it gets retired before then here. There's a couple other things that I could do. That's like I still have like an all ages graphic novel called Agents of Slam that I could do, and a couple other books. And I could start doing the Naomi series starting from season 1, from issue number 1 for season 1 all the way to now. But like I said, it's a lot of books that I have here that I could actually review for Comic Book Spectrum. So like I said, I keep that stuff open to you here. Hopefully there's not another tie, because like I said, I don't like taking up other people's time with doing multiple reviews.
Well, I don't mind. Anyway, Joe, thank you so much for being here, man, as always. Appreciate you.
Yep.
All right. And here I am. I don't mind doing multiple reviews because I'm greedy with my time. Anyway, and of course, Cindy Kemp, being the big fan she is, goes, "Yo, go Joe." And thanks for hosting the adventure. Thank you for the great jokes, Cindy. Thank you so much. I've been missing those, hon. And you have a great evening. And I hope you have a great evening, too. Now, we're going to do some closing stuff here. Don't forget, Major Marjorie from StormgatePress.com, also Amazon. Yeah! Me and Clyde Hall and Alessia Kent and Tim Bruckner, who created this, edited by Charles F. Milhouse, the award-winning novelist now.
And Jim Beard.
And Jim Beard, that's true. Jim Beard is in here, and I'm sure he's got an award or two. Please check that out on Amazon. And also from Ben Books, BobbyNash.com, Snow Shorts with my award-winning short story, Snow Ambition. Yay! Thank you. Where
I feel like I'm Charlie Brown. I got awards, you got awards, and the only thing I got is a rock.
There was a time, Joe, I didn't even have that. So anyway, it's a great story. I'm very proud of it, and 2 other really terrific stories in here. So check it out on Amazon. Pick that up if you would. Plus, it's a standalone Kindle edition.
Joe, don't feel bad. My awards come through osmosis. I haven't personally received them. My team has received them, so I can claim them, but not like Brian here. So don't feel bad. You'll get your shot.
Yeah, your time will come, Joe. Everyone's time will come. But anyway, if you want to keep up all things me, check out risingtide.pub. We have our broadcasting. You can sign up for my free monthly newsletter. Next issue will come out July 1st at around 5 p.m. Eastern time, so you have time to sign up. Also, you can get me on my Patreon page, which I want to thank everyone who has subscribed to me on there. And these wonderful people, many of them have their own their own Patreon pages. But if you want to see what I offer in exchange for your direct financial support, go to www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. And if you sign up at the $5 per month level before tomorrow, or actually before midnight tonight, you will get to read the very first chapter of my next novel, Volcana, the Prometheus frame-up. So I'm really excited to begin that finally after 7 years. Not that I'm dragging my heels. But anyway, please check that out. And also, we want to thank our sponsors for tonight, Rising Tide Publications, because later this summer, you're gonna see The Terrors with a great, this is not the cover, but this is also by Plasma Fire Graphics. But we've got a terrific cover from them for the book, and I think you're going to be thrilled seeing it. And also remember our other sponsor, which happens to be Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now, it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasma Fire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
If you love your book, then you definitely want a Jeffrey Hayes cover on that thing. So go to the Facebook page for Plasma Fire Graphics, then bop on over to plasmafiregraphics.com, see some more samples, and ask Jeffrey about his independent creator-friendly pricing. You will be quite impressed, and people will be impressed with your next book if you do this. It's Plasma Fire Graphics when the look of your book matters to you, because it definitely matters to your readers. And some programming notes for the show, for Nevermind the Furthermore. Tomorrow morning I will be hosting, but due to some personal issues, I have to allow the one, the only Nicholas Tockard, who will be replacing me on that show on starting July 6th. Nick Tockard will be the host of the Monday and Wednesday episodes of Nevermind the Furthermore, along with the great Carl Witzman, who has hosted in the past, because he is really darned awesome. So you definitely want to check that out on Monday and Wednesday of next week. I will be back. I will be on tomorrow, and then I'll be back the following Friday, along with January 6th, when we say our cheese fondue to each other. But anyway, folks, thank you for being here. We will be back 1 week from tonight with more comic book reviews and more hilarity and what have you. So anyway, folks, thank you for being here. And as always, stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. Have a great rest of your day or evening whenever you're watching this. Please leave us a like or a love wherever you're at, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we got more cool stuff coming up. And as always, folks, we'll see you next week on Comic Book Spectrum.
Thank you for watching Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Please join us next week for another look at comics, past, present, and future. If you enjoyed this, please give the show a like and be sure to subscribe and share it with your friends. To receive our free monthly newsletter, go to www.risingtide.pub and be sure to give the Rising Tide Broadcast Network page on Facebook a like in order to receive news about upcoming shows, including Clever Title Pending, Stupid O'Clock, Clever as Hail, Comics Chaos and Sass, Tidbits and Scribbles, the Historical Fencing Guild, and Nevermind the Furthermore. See you next week.